Fine. Hello, folks, and welcome back to Tales from the World's Firesides. I'm Clive Gilson, here to spark new life into ancient legends and forgotten folktales from around the world. Today's story is The Bird Feng. It's a Chinese folktale full of magic, mystery, and surprises. So hit the like button, grab your cup of tea or coffee, and let's jump straight in. In the Book of the 10,000 Wonders, there are 333 stories about the bird called Feng, and this is one of them. Takai, Prince of Tartary, dreamt one night that he saw in a place where he had never been before an enchantingly beautiful young maiden who could only be a princess. He fell desperately in love with her, but before he could either move or speak she had vanished, and when he awoke, he called for his ink and brushes, and, in the most accomplished willow leaf style, he drew her image on a piece of precious silk, and in one corner he wrote these lines: "The flowers of the peony, will they ever bloom? A day without her is like 100 years." He then summoned his ministers, and showing them the portrait, asked if anyone could tell him the name of the beautiful maiden, but they all shook their heads and stroked their beards. They did not know who she was. So displeased was the prince that he sent them away in disgrace to the most remote provinces of his kingdom. All the courtiers, the generals, the officers, and every man and woman high and low who lived in the palace came in turn to look at the picture, but they all had to confess their ignorance. Takai then called upon the magicians of the kingdom to find out by their art the name of the princess of his dreams, but their answers were so widely different that the prince, suspecting their ability, condemned them all to have their noses cut off. The portrait was shown in the outer court of the palace from sunrise till sunset, and exalted travellers came in every day, gazed upon the beautiful face, and came out again. None could tell who she was. Meanwhile, the days were weighing heavily upon the shoulders of Takai, and his sufferings cannot be described. He ate no more, he drank no more, and ended by forgetting which was day and which was night, what was in and what was out, what was left and what was right. He spent his time roaming over the mountains and through the woods, crying aloud to the gods to end his life and his sorrow. It was thus, one day, that he came to the edge of a precipice. The valley below was strewn with rocks, and the thought came to his mind that he had been led to this place to put a term to his misery. He was about to throw himself into the depths below, when suddenly the bird Feng flew across the valley and appeared before him, saying, "Why is Takai, the mighty prince of Tartary, standing in this place of desolation with a shadow on his brow?" Takai replied, "The pine tree finds its nourishment where it stands. The tiger can run after the deer in the forests. The eagle can fly over the mountains and the plains. But how can I find the one for whom my heart is thirsting?" And he told the bird his story. The Feng, which in reality was a Feng Huang, that is, a female Feng, rejoined with, "Without the help of Supreme Heaven, it is not easy to acquire wisdom. But it is a sign of the benevolence of the spiritual beings that I should have come between you and destruction. I can make myself large enough to carry the largest town upon my back, or small enough to pass through the smallest keyhole, and I know all the princesses in all the palaces of the earth. I have taught them the 6 intonations of my voice, and I am their friend. Therefore show me the picture, O Takai, and I will tell you the name of whom you saw in your dream." Then the wonderful bird, like a fire of many colours, came down from heaven, alighted before the prince, who dropped the portrait at her feet. They went to the palace, and when the portrait was shown once more, the bird became as large as an elephant and exclaimed, "Sit on my back, O Takai, and I will carry you to the place of your dream. There you will find her of the transparent face with the drooping eyelids, under the crown of dark hair such as you have depicted, for these are the features of Sai Jen, the daughter of the King of China, and alone can be likened to the full moon rising under a black cloud." At nightfall, They were flying over the palace of the king just above a magnificent garden, and in the garden sat Sai Jian, singing and playing upon the lute. The Feng Huang deposited the prince outside the wall near a place where bamboos were growing, and showed him how to cut 12 bamboos between the knots to make the flute, which is called the Pai Xiao, and has a sound sweeter than the evening breeze on the forest stream. And as he blew gently across the pipes, they echoed the sound of the princess's voice so harmoniously that she cried, "I hear the distant notes of the song that comes from my own lips, and I can see nothing but the flowers and the trees. It is the melody of the heart alone that can sing, that has suffered sorrow on sorrow, and to which alone the heart can listen, that is full of longing." At that moment, the wonderful bird, like a fire of many colours, come down from heaven, alighted before the princess, dropping at her feet the portrait. She opened her eyes in utter astonishment at the sight of her own image, and when she read the lines inscribed in the corner, she asked, trembling, "Oh, tell me, O Feng Huang, who is he so near, but whom I cannot see, that knows the sound of my voice and has never heard me, and can remember my face, and has never seen me?" Then the bird spoke and told her the story of Takai's dream, adding, "I come from him with this message, for I brought him here on my wings. For many days he has longed for this hour. Let him now behold the image of his dream and heal the wound in his heart." Swift and overpowering is the rush of the waves on the pebbles of the shore, and Sai Jian felt like a little pebble when Takai stood before her. The Feng Huang illuminated the garden sumptuously, and a breath of love was stirring the flowers under the stars. It was in the palace of the King of China that were celebrated in the most ancient and magnificent style the nuptials of Sai Jian and Takai, Prince of Tartary. And this is one of the 333 stories about the bird Feng, as it is told in the Book of 10,000 Wonders. 4-5. And that's it for the story of the bird Feng. This tale was adapted from Edmund Dulac's version in Edmund Dulac's fairy book, originally published in 1916. If you've enjoyed it, do hit that like button or subscribe and share it with a friend who loves old school twists and magical stories. It really helps us to keep these tales alive. And if you want more, then you can grab the full collections from across the Middle East, Asia and beyond at the link indicated below. You can, of course, swing by clivegilson.com and say hi. I'm always happy to connect. But until next time, stay curious, stay cozy, and keep those stories flowing while we listen to the pigeon outside. Catch you next time. Bye.